Stealth is one of gaming's most distinctive forms of tension. Few mechanics can turn a moment of silence into something so intense, like watching a searchlight pass inches from your hiding spot, waiting for the right time to move. But stealth isn't just about hiding, it's about information, seeing without being seen, understanding systems, and using patience as a weapon.
Today, we'll trace how stealth evolved from its early arcade experiments to complex open-world simulations, and how the idea of not being seen became one of gaming's most enduring design philosophies.
In 1981, Sega released 005, an arcade game inspired by spy thrillers, if the obvious parody of 007 wasn't a huge giveaway. Players guide a secret agent carrying a briefcase through warehouses and skating rinks? Avoiding guards whose flashlights indicate their vision cones. You could even use gas canisters to immobilize them. It's officially recognized by Guinness as the first stealth game. Released the same year as 005, Castle Wolfenstein brought a more structured approach. You play as an Allied spy escaping a Nazi castle, sneaking through procedurally generated rooms, taking down enemies with a pistol, or, for the more heavily armored ones, grenades, collecting keys, opening chests for uniforms, for disguises, and just overall trying to avoid detection. Its sequel, Beyond Castle Wolfenstein, added innovations like hiding bodies, and a silent weapon, in this case a dagger or knife, features that would later define stealth design.
These early games were crude by modern standards, but they laid down the foundation: vision, disguise, silence, and the satisfaction of remaining unseen. In 1987, stealth became a genre. Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear, released for the MSX2, introduced a new philosophy: victory through avoidance. The crazy thing is this is not how Metal Gear was intended to start. System limitations of the MSX made it so that too many bullets on screen slowed the game down. So instead, Kojima opted for more puzzle-like gameplay. Instead of fighting through enemies, players were encouraged to sneak past them. Combat became risky. Silence is now survival. The game's systems, enemy vision, sound cues, alert phases, created tensions through information management. Guards would raise alarms when they saw you, their awareness shown by exclamation marks that became an icon of the series.
Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake expanded on everything Metal Gear started. Guards can now hear footsteps, follow sounds, and patrol between rooms. They could even turn their heads 45 degrees now. Snake himself had a new technique: crawling. So now he could hide under things, he could crawl through ducts to reach new areas. And this game also introduced the Soliton radar system, a feature these games would later on become known for. Together, these games established the language of stealth, line of sight, and sound. Nearly every major stealth title that followed would build on these concepts.
The transition to 3D allowed stealth to become more immersive and more ambitious. In 1998, Tenchu: Stealth Assassins arrived on PlayStation, bringing stealth into a full 3D environment. Players took on missions as ninjas Rikumaru and Ayame, using tools, grappling hooks, and silent kills. It was one of the first stealth games to fully embrace spatial awareness using verticality, lighting, and level design to support stealth.
That same year, Thief, the Dark Project, approached the genre from a different angle. Played entirely in first person, it emphasized sound and visibility over combat. Players had to pay attention to light levels and the noise of their own footsteps. Its light meter, a small gem showing how visible you were, became a defining mechanic used in many future games.
And in between these two came Metal Gear Solid. Kojima reimagined his own series for 3D, combining cinematic storytelling with tightly controlled stealth mechanics. Vision cones, sound detection, and camera systems all returned, but the presentation, voice acting, cutscenes, music elevated stealth into a dramatic experience. Metal Gear Solid didn't just popularize stealth, it proved that quiet gameplay could be just as exciting as open combat.
The early 2000s marked the genre's expansion and experimentation. In Hitman, codenamed 47, and its eventual sequel, Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, players became an assassin completing missions through careful planning and disguise. The game rewarded methodical play, hiding bodies, changing outfits, and studying guard patterns. Instead of pure evasion, Hitman introduced social stealth, blending in rather than disappearing.
Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, pushed stealth systems to new levels of complexity. Guards could communicate by radio, react to environmental damage, and coordinate searches. The game also paid attention to small details and created a world that responded to stealth.
Then, in 2002, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell arrived. Where Metal Gear was cinematic and stylized, Splinter Cell was grounded and tactical. Players controlled Sam Fisher, an agent relying on shadows, light meters, and various gadgets like the sticky camera. The emphasis on light and darkness created a new technical standard for the genre. These three giants of the genre continued to release sequels during this generation and into the next, with Hitman releasing Contracts, improving the series' gameplay, and Blood Money introducing a notoriety system, which made it so the less stealthy you were in a previous mission, the more recognition 47 receives in the following one. Splinter Cell had Pandora Tomorrow, which brought multiplayer to the series and genre with its Spies vs. Mercenaries mode. Chaos Theory followed, bringing in an aural meter tracking the noise Sam would make along with the ambient noise from the environment. It also had a new co-op campaign where two players would complete missions as two new Splinter Cell agents. Double Agent, my personal favorite, would finish this generation and bring in a moral choice system, a growing fad at the time. Now, Metal Gear only had one sequel during this generation, Snake Eater. This brought the gameplay outside into the wilds, with players now in the boots of Naked Snake, the man who would become Big Boss. Snake Eater would see camouflage as its main gameplay element, having players choose a face paint and pattern for Snake's BDU, changing how well you could blend into your environment. An expanded release of the game, Subsistence, would introduce a new over-the-shoulder camera that the series would adopt moving forward, as well as the first iteration of Metal Gear Online. the series' first foray into online multiplayer. Metal Gear also experimented with combining stealth with turn-based deck building in Metal Gear Acid. But Metal Gear wasn't the only one to experiment. Other games had combined stealth to other genres, such as the Sly Cooper series, which combined stealth and 3D platforming, and Siren, which brought stealth and survival horror together. Many games of this generation also bring stealth in as either an optional playstyle or in a single one-off segment, some being really well executed, some not so much. And as the next generation came about, stealth was no longer confined to dedicated titles. It had become a flexible design tool, adaptable to almost any genre.
By the 2010s, stealth design had matured into a sophisticated system of player expression. Games like Dishonored gave players choice. Will you be lethal or non-lethal? Stealthy or direct? Success wasn't measured by visibility alone, but by creativity. Mark of the Ninja translated stealth back into 2D form, with clear feedback systems that made hiding and movement feel precise and readable.
Horror games also embrace stealth as their primary language. Titles like Alien Isolation or Outlast either stripped down combat or removed it entirely, leaving players vulnerable. Here, stealth became pure survival, using sound, hiding spots, and limited visibility to heighten fear.
In 2015, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain represented the full realization of stealth as an open-world system. Every mission could be approached in countless ways. Infiltration, distractions, disguises, or full combat. It was flexible, dynamic, and deeply systemic, reflecting decades of evolution.
The Hitman series continued to refine the open-ended assassination formula, especially with its 2016 reboot, which emphasized replayability and emergent problem-solving.
Even outside of dedicated stealth games, the genre's DNA is everywhere. Countless action games have integrated detection meters, silent takedowns, and awareness systems. Stealth has become part of gaming's design grammar.
From simple line-of-sight avoidance in 005 to complex simulations in Metal Gear Solid 5, stealth has continually adapted to new technologies and player expectations. Its appeal lies in its restraint. Stealth asks players to slow down, to observe, to engage thoughtfully with space and systems. It rewards patience over power.
While few modern games are purely stealth-focused, the genre's influence is everywhere. In the way AI perceives players, how levels are built, and how tension is crafted through information rather than firepower.
Recent releases like Metal Gear Solid Delta and the hopefully still coming Splinter Cell remake suggest that pure stealth still has a place. But even if it fades from the spotlight, its principles remain woven into the fabric of modern design.
Stealth began as a simple challenge: avoid being seen. Over the decades, it evolved into an art of awareness and a quiet kind of mastery that continues to shape how games create suspense.